Wow. I mean, 1.2 billion dollars Avengers Endgame debuted worldwide. Uh that is just an that's out of this world, man. That is a number that I never thought I would see in a long time, at least not in the next 20 years or so. Eventually I thought inflation would bring a movie with a good build as Avengers Endgame to that level. But never did I think it would happen so soon. And just wow. I don't 1.2 billion dollars. This is a worldwide opening, and personally for me though, I mean, for the studio, for the entertainment business, for the Disney, that's a huge number, 1.2 billion dollars. But personally, for me, I don't care about 1.2 billion dollars debut for a movie, because um there is no constant for the movie opening in a certain amount of territories at the same time. Like Avengers Infinity War opened with, I believe, $640 million, but it didn't open in China. If it did open in China, it would have had an opening of maybe close to $900 million. I believe the second film is the Fast and Furious 7 or 8. I don't remember which one it was. With, I believe, 540, 530 around there. But I don't think the worldwide opening means that much, because not every film opens in the same territories at the same time. Again, there is no constant, so it's kind of a useless number to me. But nevertheless, it is a big number that a movie could make $1.2 billion in its opening weekend, because again, it does open in pretty much all the major territories at once. Not every film has had was fortunate to have that. But let's look at I think the number that's probably the most shocking of all is the North America opening in US and Canada, which is estimated to be $350 million. Like, holy hell, $350 million is the projected opening for Avengers Infinity Game. This is according to Box Office Mojo. From the Thursday night showing through Sunday. That is just incredible. And just the hype for Endgame pushed Captain Marvel to the number 2 spot from the number 4 spot from last week. So just the hype around this Endgame, man, like a movie that was number 4 last week, it pushed it to number 2, because people wanted to see Captain Marvel, to have a familiarity with the character before they saw Endgame. I mean, holy hell. I'll be honest with you, I did not think this number was possible. I did not think this number was possible for an opening in the next 20 to, yeah, pretty much in the next 20 years. In the next 20 years, that's what I thought. But what the hell do I know? Because this just proves that, like, with the right amount of build, like what Avengers, the whole MCU is, every episode, every movie is like an episode leading to a series finale, or season finale. The season finale would be the Avengers movies, and now this is kind of like the series finale in a way, because we know it's going to continue. And all that hype, all that build, we have to see this movie before we see this movie to have a better understanding of what we're seeing. Now some people might not have liked the movie, and if you just one of those casual fans who just go to Endgame and expect to like it, you're not gonna like it, because you're not gonna understand most of the references on your left. Wait, why are people copying on your left? What does that mean? Well, if you've seen it in Winter Soldier, you know what on your left means. So you're not gonna have a good complete experience if you haven't seen the previous films. And that's what makes the MCU so unique, and that's what a lot of studios are trying to do, but they're not exactly there, because you need to see the other films to have a better understanding. But yes, $350 million for a freaking movie. Who the hell thought that was possible? Because I listened to some people. Some people didn't think this was a freaking possible. A lot didn't think it was possible. I didn't think this was possible, because just $300 million. You gotta have theaters pretty much just sold out throughout the freaking entire weekend, which Avengers Infinity War was. Like, I saw it twice, and I was trying to watch it again, but I couldn't get a showing. Like I couldn't. Like what the hell? Like my theater's like 2 minutes from me, but I couldn't get a showing. I said, okay, I'm gonna go to the AMC. Still couldn't get a showing. My second viewing was at the IMAX at AMC, and I sat in like the first row. I actually love the first rows now, believe it or not, because the seats are reclined, so you can just like look up at the screen, so you can look left and right, because it's just this big screen and IMAX in front of you. The experience is so good, and after having that experience, just sitting in the front row looking up. But by the way, your seat have to be like reclined. If they're not reclined, your head's gonna be hurting. But yeah, the experience is just so amazing because you're just looking up like it's a big ass IMAX screen. Just looking up at how big the pictures are. Like if you're all the way up at the top, I mean it's that's where I usually sit, and it's like okay, I'm just watching a movie on a big screen, but just sitting closer to those the big IMAX screen, it was like oh my god, it was incredible, man. 350. I don't know. I'm happy for the movie. I'm so happy for the film. Marvel, thank your fans. Because you Disney, you guys have some of the most dedicated fans. Like this is amazing, man. What the fans again? This is why the people always thank the fans, and when you don't thank the fans, it's like, come on now. Like the fans did that. Most of you guys saw this film two, three, four times already. I already saw it twice. I'm gonna see it like two or three more times. Mostly in the next weekend. But wow. I mean, the Avengers Infinity War's opening was what 258 million, 250. This is almost a $100 million more. This is almost $100 million more added to the opening for the North America, not worldwide, because I said that number is kind of useless. But the North America opening almost $100 million more. It beats the Infinity War. Now, was Infinity War a better film? Personally, I think Infinity War is greater than equal. I think Infinity War is greater than or equal to Endgame. I gotta see Endgame a couple more times to see how I really, really, really feel. But one thing though, when I first saw Endgame, I was watching a movie with a lot of expectations, and just I wanted to see, okay, what happens next? What happens next? And I was just trying to tie things together, as in like, okay, this happens, this happened. Okay, cool, cool, cool. We're talking. So, okay, so when do we get to Thanos? When do we get to Thanos? Okay, all right, cool, cool. When do we get to the rise in action and the climax? When are we getting to the conclusion? Which characters will die? You know, so it's a lot of piecing things together, and there's a lot of expectations. That came with my first viewing of the film. However, my second viewing was with a lot of acceptance. Once you accept the film for what it is and not what you want it to be, like that's what I had on my second viewing. For me, the film was a masterpiece after that. My second viewing, the film was a masterpiece. It flowed a lot better. It just flowed a lot better. The pace was just a hell of a lot better on my second viewing of the film. And a lot of people might not like it. Again, a lot of people might not like it because they expect certain things, but and that's the thing. Expectations, it can ruin a film. It surely can. But once you sit down, you watch the film again, you piece everything together, a lot of things that slipped your mind the first time, it'll all make sense now. So my advice, if you didn't like the film the first time, just see it again, know that you know where the film is going from beginning to end, and I think you will enjoy it a hell of a lot better. Personally, for me, the part of the film that the only part that I was disappointed with, and this is a bit of a spoiler, is that we didn't see Hulk versus Thanos round two. And that was again expectations, because after what Thanos did to the Hulk in the Infinity War, the opening of Infinity War, I wanted to see a rematch of Hulk versus Thanos. We didn't quite get that, but after just letting everything marinate for a second, I understood why. Because, well, again, spoilers, Hulk used the Infinity Gauntlet. Like he said, you know, it's kind of like I was made to do this because the Infinity Gauntlet emits a ton of radiation, which is gamma radiation, and he's a gamma freaking beast. So he's very equipped for that. So after he snapped, which is it just kind of destroyed his hand. And if you see his hand at the end of the film in that slingy, it's like he can't move his hand. It's destroyed. And just look at Thanos, what it did to him. It was kind of heartbreaking, to be honest with you. Just like to see Thanos on his farm, he's like hopping, he's picking his vegetables, and he's going up the steps, he's just limping because the Infinity Gauntlet pretty much almost destroyed him. And as War Machine said, he had a retirement plan, but that was just his plan. He wanted to balance the universe, and well, instead of like taking advantage of what you have, people kind of tend to cling to the past and all of that and whatever. But the point is though, like Hulk couldn't fight Thanos because his arm was messed up from using the Infinity Gauntlet, and there is no way Hulk was gonna win or put up much of a fight against Thanos, considering that freaking Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man couldn't do much against him. So Hulk wouldn't have been able to do anything really against Thanos. So yeah, after the second viewing, I realized, like, you know what, that's what happened. It wouldn't have made sense. But other than that though, love the film. The Black Widow stuff that happened with Black Widow, I thought that was so sad, and it was just so unexpected, and that was just oh, it tore me up. Did I have some tears in the film? Absolutely. Not so much where it runs down your face, but it was just like, yeah, shit. With the thing with his daughter at the end, and oh, whatever, man. Whatever. Oh, Jesus. What else do I gotta say about this? Let's make that smaller.
Some people move on.
But not us.
But
Okay,
not us.
I gotta mute that. Gotta mute that. Yeah, just an amazing amazing number, man. $350 million for this film. And so the big question now is Avatar. Avatar, will Avengers Infinity War break Avatar's box office number? I gotta say, one of my greatest sins is not seeing Avatar in 3D in theaters. Like, that's because it was 2009. I wasn't that into films back then, didn't get to see it. But that's the thing though. I didn't get to see it in 3D, but I saw it. I forgot where I saw it. But just seeing the visuals and how everything was, it was just like, oh my, this is amazing. And it wasn't even in 3D. I didn't even get to see it in 3D. So just imagine just seeing it in 3D. And the 3D is what makes Avatar, just because it was groundbreaking at the time. James Cameron, he waited years just to have the right technology to make Avatar. So it was groundbreaking and people wanted to see it just to experience this new dimensional film. It wasn't new, but it came back. He brought it back. And that's kind of why it made so much money just internationally. If you go on Box Office Mojo and just seeing how much money it makes in all of these territories. And it's like, how the hell did it make so much money? Avatar makes so much money in these territories compared to other even more popular movies. It's incredible. It's a phenomenon, man. It is. Now, do I see an Endgame breaking that record of Avatar? No, I do not see it happening. Now, I didn't see Captain Marvel breaking $1 billion. Did I see Captain Marvel breaking $1 billion? Hell no, because I almost walked out of Captain Marvel. But the hype though, you had to see Captain Marvel to see who this woman was, who was touted to be one of the key factors that would contribute to the fall of Thanos. So you wanted to see who she was, the hype around Endgame, the end credit scenes of Infinity War with, her logo. You had to see who she was. And I think that's what contributed to it making $1 billion. So yeah, I mean, I could say, I don't think this will make $1 billion, but it could end up making however much money, I'm just sharing my opinion. But based on what I've seen, I don't think it will make a $2.78 billion, which is Avatar's number, because it's incredible. A lot of people see this movie opening weekend. That's why it's at $350 billion. That $1 million opening North America. That's why it has $1.2 billion worldwide, because a lot of people see it opening weekend so they don't get spoiled. There was a story about a man in Hong Kong, I believe. Hong Kong? I struggle with certain words. China, Hong Kong. He was in line, I guess. He saw the film and he was just like shouting spoilers and he got beat up, because that's how passionate people are about this. Don't spoil the film. So because people don't want to be spoiled, they see the film opening weekend. All right. So I think that's what contributed to this global freaking phenomenon of $1.2 billion. That is more than Captain Marvel. Now there was an article. It was written by this guy in Forbes. I don't remember his name, but he's this guy that always writes about movies on Forbes. He's a really good writer, and he said that if Endgame makes as much as Captain Marvel has now in its opening weekend, that it will beat Avatar's $2.78 billion. Well, it did. 1.2 billion. That's more than Captain Marvel right now. So, will it beat Avatar again? No. It does. I don't think the movie will have the legs to do that. I mean, $350 million opening. How much will it make in the second weekend? If we have a 350, what is that? 150. I see making about 150 to 170 in its second weekend, right? 157 in the second weekend. That would push it to maybe $700 million in its second weekend or second. So I think the film will reach $1 billion. Oh my god, $1 billion in the domestic box office. Again, did I think that would happen? I mean, Star Wars was what, 917 something million? Did I ever think that would happen? No. I thought you had to wait a while for maybe another Star Wars film or another film of that magnitude to get to $1 billion domestic, but this film is on pace to do that. So if Avengers Infinity War makes $1 billion in its domestic box office, it's gonna need about 2.7. It's gonna need about 1.7 billion dollars from the 1.78 or 1.8 billion dollars from the rest of the world. Can it do that? Well, right now it almost has $1 billion in the rest of the world. So can it do like a 2.5? Is it 2.5, 1.5? Can it add another, let's say, $1 billion? Can it? Right now it's almost $1 billion. Can it add another billion? I mean, even 0.8 billion. If it can add, like, right now, like $900 million to what it already has, and it makes $1 billion domestic, then yes, it could beat Avatar. But again, I just don't think it will, because I don't think it'll have the legs to do it. That's the debate a lot of people are gonna have. After these worldwide box office breaking numbers, the only thing that's left in its path is Avatar. Titanic, it'll break Titanic. Force Awakens, it'll break Force Awakens. You know, so it's gonna be about Avatar. It's gonna be about Avatar. What do you guys think? Will Avengers Infinity War become the #1 box office film of all time, beating Avatar, which has a box office total, and I believe it was re-released, but the total box office right now is $2.78 billion. Will Avengers break $2.78 billion? I don't think it will. Let me know what you guys think about that below, and if you like what I do here, want to see more, hit that subscribe button and join the ascension. I'm SJ, thank you guys so much for watching. Later. 350, holy shit!